my name is Sam, and thanks for checking out this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Give the video a thumbs up. So it is that time of the month-ish / year. I don't know how I would say that. It's time for TBR time. That seems to be the most popular videos that I upload, so I don't know why people thoroughly enjoy that, but this is my attempted planned TBR for April. I am keeping it a little bit shorter than I would for most months that are the length of April, just because I have a couple out trips that I have to do for work, and I have a big conference, and those are always exhausting and they tend to wipe me out. I normally don't have time to read during those days, and then I'm kind of kicked and just done for like the 2-3 days following, depending on if I get the weekend to recoup. So with that in mind, this is my TBR plan. First off, I am continuing my reread of the Harry Potter series, and I am moving on now. I'm done all the illustrated editions because we're not getting Goblet of Fire illustrated edition until 2019 now. So I have my paperbacks, and I am going to get going on this one. Prisoner of Azkaban is like always my favorite, but Goblet of Fire is pretty legit good too, so I'm just super excited to get back in here and meet Cedric Diggory while he's still alive. I guess that's kind of a spoiler, but I don't know what to do with you if you don't know the general plot and deaths of Harry Potter by this point. I also plan on rereading Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This will be my first time reading the finished copy though. It is currently in the mail. My friend got it signed for me. I'm so excited. We're doing a group read of it and kind of discussion in the TBR and Beyond book group, which I will link in the description down below. But it is set in a world where there were powers. People got kind of excessive with the powers. Another kind of crazy person comes in and steals powers and then kind of oppresses people. And then it's coming from the perspective of the royals that are doing the oppressing, that are heirs, and then the oppressees, and then like just like adventure all over the place. And it's so good. It's such an amazing book. The writing is amazing. The plot's amazing. It's so good. It's just amazing, and I'm so excited to reread it. I also plan on reading Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is the third and sadly final book in the Illuminae Files trilogy. I have my copy. It is in the mail, also coming to me from the same person who got it signed, and I'm so excited for that. I haven't even actually read the plot just because, like, I don't care. I just don't care. I just want to know. I just want the book. That's all we need to know. That's it. I'm okay with that. Then I am picking up Cress by Marissa Meyer. This is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles, and I absolutely love Scarlet. I love Cress too, though, so each book in this series just gets better and better as it goes along. And now we meet the Rapunzel retelling, where we meet Cress, who is kind of a hacker for Levana, circulating in space in a... well, she was kind of forced in this little pod, and she's forced to hack. We kind of meet her in Cinder, and now we get to finally actually meet her, and she is such an adorable character. I absolutely love her, and I'm just so excited to give this one another read. And immediately after that, probably, I will be reading Fairest, which is the novella where we get the story of Levana, because there's a lot of, like, we don't know, rumor has said this is what happened, and Levana's kind of a messed up human being. Well, not human being. A messed up person? No, would that work? A messed up... she's just messed up in general. But I always get curious when people are like that, of like, what exactly happened to you, and how did you get to this point of where you're, like, in this story, giving plagues to an entire planet to wipe out millions of people because you want to rule it. It's just... she's a very messed up thing, and I love this, and I honestly don't remember much of it from when I actually read it, so I'm really curious to give this one a reread. I am finally picking up Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. I apologize, I most likely didn't say that right. But I am just so excited about this. All I've heard is that it's Harry Potter meets, like, Nigerian folklore, and I've heard nothing but fantastic things about the writing, about the plot. The cover's really cool. This is like a new cover that they rebranded it with. Our main character, Sunny, is an albino born in New York but living in Nigeria. I assume it is going to talk about that part of it as well, because I've read articles and that kind of stuff about like how albino people are viewed in certain areas, but I don't know tons about specific geographic countries. So I'm really curious about that part of it, and she's really good at sports, but she doesn't seem to fit in, and then she finds that she has powers, and then she starts learning how to use those powers. And that sounds very Harry Potter-esque and right up my alley. I'm so excited for this. Then I am finally getting to The Defiant by Leslie Livingston. I was ready to read this in January, but it didn't get to me in time, and then just got pushed back until, you know, now. It is the continuation of our story from The Valiant, and it is getting a third book actually, and I found out too a couple months ago it was optioned and the CW is making it into a TV show, which I am so curious about that. I don't credit the CW for like high quality Game of Thrones-esque shows, but they do tend to make shows, adaptations, that get me very addicted, even though I know it's not high quality, great like storylines or anything. It tends to be cheesy and a little bit ridiculous, but I always love them. So I'm super excited to see that. Our main character Fallon is super popular now after the end of The Valiant, being the gladiatrix of Julius Caesar. And there is tons that go on. Lots of politics in this one. I'm really excited to give this one a go. And the cover is so cool. I also want to pick up the arc that I have for A Song of Blood and Stone by L. Penelope. I honestly don't remember tons about this one. I just remember reading the summary and seeing the cover and be like, that sounds like pretty interesting. I love the like fading and like splashes of colors all over the front cover. That's really cool. That is what's really caught my eye. I also want to get on to the arc that I have for What Should Be Wild by Julia Fine. This one sounds so interesting, and I've had this arc since I think like January. I just haven't gotten to it. And our main character is like, it sounds like almost kind of like a Midas-y situation where she touches things and anything she touches she kills, and for that reason she's been kind of sequestered and like hidden off at her house, and her father is this kind of sketchy, from the sounding of it, anthropologist, and the town that they live nearby, men tend to go missing in the forest that also borders their house. And then she finds out that actually women in her family are known to have been cursed, and they constantly, like a bunch of generations, go missing in the forest as well. And then her father goes missing, so she has to go into the sketchy forest. It sounds super interesting to me. It sounds like it's either going to be like hit or miss, and I'm hoping it'll be a hit for me because the plot sounds interesting. The book cover is like really what intrigued me, and it's supposed to have like a lot of like humor tones, so I am really excited for that. I love books with some comedy in them. Then I plan on reading the arc that I have for My Name is Victoria by Lucy Worsley. I thought originally when I requested it that it was about Queen Victoria, because I'm so interested by the British monarchy, but I have since read the summary. It's actually about like one of her ladies in waiting, named also Victoria, I believe. From the sounds of it, it is Miss V, like the lady in waiting. She becomes like an aide. Her father sends her as an aide to the household of Victoria before she is queen, and it's all about the Kensington system. And I remember reading about this in like university and being super interested in this because there's a lot of like things going on that were very sketchy and like all over the place and almost looked like political power moves going on, not by Victoria but by her like super ambitious mother and her mother's weird companion guy. So they had a lot of weird stuff going on. So I am super interested in this concept, and hopefully the execution is just as good. Then I'm getting on to my arc for Onyx and Ivory by Mindy Arnett. I'm so excited for this book. I actually have a finished copy already pre-ordered, even though I haven't read the arc that I got yet. But I'm reading it now, and there is our main female character who is the daughter of a man who assassinated or tried to assassinate the High King, and he had since been killed off, so she's been kind of an outcast, and she's not a part of that normal society anymore. Then we have the perspective of our main male character, who is the heir to the throne, I believe it is, and he is traveling or something like that, and his coach is essentially cast upon, and he is basically like robbed almost, and then she comes in and saves him. And that is where they kind of go forward. Their paths are intertwined, and I assume there's going to be a little bit of romance just based on that definition. And a lot of power fighting. I anticipate a lineage reveal too. I don't know why. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. I just have a gut feeling that it's going to come about. But we'll see. Then I'm going to pick up The Queen of Sorrows by Sarah Beth Durst. This is the third and I believe final book in the Queens of Renthia series. The first book, Queens of Blood. The second book, The Reluctant Queen, and then this one now. If I remember the ending of The Reluctant Queens properly, and I am going to like probably reread them all after the end of this. If I remember it correctly, they kind of have a dual queen thing going on. The queens don't want to kill each other, and they both just find the concept very overwhelming, and they both have other duties like children or, you know, magical powers that need kind of like substitution and support. So they kind of work together. I haven't read the summary just because it's the third book in a series that I know I want to read anyways, and I don't want to like, no, I just want to go in like relatively blind. And I'm super curious about this. I hope they're not going to like pit the queens against each other. because I like the concept of them being like two queens not dueling each other constantly for power. That seems like a fairly rare occurrence, so I have high hopes for it. Then I will be picking up my arc for All the Ever Afters. It's the story of Cinderella's stepmother. It's by Danielle Teller, I believe. She's a Canadian author. I love me some villainy retellings. I love me some Canadian authors, and I love me some books with that kind of a cover on it. So hopefully this will be kind of like a grand slam all the way around. It sounds super interesting. We get the perspective of Cinderella's stepmom. I don't know if it's like after Cinderella becomes the queen princess. I don't know if it's before as to how she became that way. But like I said in reference to Ferris, I love knowing how messed up people get messed up, or why they get messed up, or what they did before that to be like build up to the messed upness that we know them for, that kind of thing. Then I will be doing another reread of The Black Witch by Laurie Forrest. It is the book of the month that was picked in the TBR and Beyond book group, and I am actually quite happy because I wanted to reread it and Wan Fasted before Light Mage and The Iron Flower come out, and those come out in the next couple months. I also noticed that every time I read this book I notice something new, or I remember other people thinking, like telling me what they thought, you know, where all the powers are coming from and where it's going to go, and then like trying to pinpoint evidence to support or slam that down. So I'm just super excited about it. It talks about worlds where races are segregated, and then in this university situation they're forced to come together, and when they do that they start interacting and realizing the assumptions that they had made about each other because of their race don't make any sense, and they're harmful, and none of them really fit into that, and they start, you know, uniting to, you know, get back at the evil dictatory government institution that one of our main characters actually happens to be kind of related to. And I'm so excited about this, and there's some romances in here that I love, and I am just beyond excited for the rest of this series. Then I will be rereading The Wicked Deep, also the first time reading this finished copy after I read the physical arc and the e-arc, but this is by Shay Earnshaw. It came out, I think, last month or the month before. No, it came out in March. Yeah, it came out in March. I just read it so long ago, it's all over the place with my brain. Our main character lives in a small town in Oregon, and in this small town, every summer, 3 girls in town are like kind of taken over by the souls of 3 witches from that town that were killed during the Salem witch trials for being witches. And they come back, and then they lure 3 boys as those, like, while embodying the girls, into the local lake and drown them. And the whole plot is to try and find out who is being embodied so they can stop the killings. And it's very interesting. There's a lot of, like, mob mentality, which we've all witnessed that happening. And I'm just so excited. The cover is beautiful. There's a lot of hocus pocusy feels because of the 3 sisters drowned Salem, that kind of thing. And I absolutely love this. There is some insta love in it though, but I still, for whatever reason, really enjoyed it. So I'm just so excited to read it. This is the TBR and Beyond book group. We picked it for one of the other reads going on, and I'm really excited to get involved in that. As always, I like to fit in at least one middle grade into my monthly TBRs, so I am going to be picking up the arc I have for Clairvoyant by Rochelle Delaney. This is also a Canadian author, if I remember correctly. I love the cover of this. It is so cool. Our main character, Clara, has moved to a new place in Toronto with her single mom. They moved out of the home that they were sharing, I guess, with their grandmother, and she goes to a school where she wants to get involved in something. So she gets involved with the newspaper. Then the things that she starts saying in the horoscopes, I guess, start actually happening. I'm not someone who puts much merit and, you know, follows all the horoscope stuff, but I love the concept of it. I love the cover. I love Canadian authors, and I love middle grade, so I am really excited to give this one a try. Then I plan on picking up A Rose Under Fire by Elizabeth Wine. I think I'm emotionally okay and willing and able to move on after reading Codename Verity, because that book was so beautifully written and the plot was so good and the ending made me so sad. However, I did like that it was realistic for like World War II era stuff going on. Haven't even read the plot of this. I know it's a companion, and that's all I know. That's all I want to know. I know I'm just going to enjoy it. The writing of Elizabeth Wine just blew me away. I couldn't believe that I had took so long to read Codename Verity, and I'm not making that mistake with Rose Under Fire. And after this one, I want to read the prequel book, The Pearl Thief, that I have. Then I plan on picking up Duels and Deception by Cindy Anstey. This was actually a book that I put, I think, in one of my March videos that I just hadn't gotten to yet. And I just all of a sudden was like, yeah, I'm ready to give this a go. Maybe it's because it's almost like springy season and that's kind of the feeling the cover gives me. But I think it's supposed to be like a loose retelling of some Jane Austen book. I apologize, I've never actually read anything by Jane Austen. Our main character is like, her father has passed away, she's inherited the manor that he left her, and she plans on running it until she gets married to the fiancé that her father chose before he passed away. So she contacts a law clerk and asks him to draft up a marriage contract. And all of a sudden they get kidnapped and they realize someone is after her family fortune and things go amok. I assume, just because there's a male and a female law clerk, and I assume like a hierarchical thing there, that they're going to have some sort of a romance and it's going to be scandalous because she's breaking her engagement or something like that. Nonetheless, I'm super here for that. I love those kind of trashy, like historical fiction-y kind of plots like that. So I'm really curious to give this one a go, and hopefully I'll like it because I also have this author's copy of Love, Lies, and Spies, which hopefully I can get to this spring too. I am, like, there is no way I'm getting through the next month and not reading this book, okay? I will be angry with myself. I'm going to finally buckle down and read Sudden Death by Alvaro Enrique. This is another book that I talked about in, I think, my March video, and it is essentially kind of a construction and analysis of the political world in 15th, 16th century-ish Europe, where it is told through a tennis match going on between a philosopher and an artist, where the tennis ball that they are playing this tennis game with is the head of Anne Boleyn. So I'm super curious about this book. It's super short, and I've heard not tons of things about it, but the things I have heard are very, very positive. So I'm really, really excited about that. I love books about European politics, all that kind of drama. Love it. Here for it. Finally going to start reading Half Bad by Sally Green. She has a book coming out called like The Smoke Thieves, which I am so excited about. The covers look really cool, the US and the UK ones. And I remember reading the plot and being like, this sounds like a Sam book. So I'm finally going to read the book series that I have by her already and give it a go. Hopefully, even if I don't like it, I'll know if I like the writing. So hopefully I enjoy this one. All I know is they're supposed to be like half witches, and like that's kind of all I need to know about a book to be interested in it. And I own the whole trilogy, so I just need to finally give it a go. I also want to try and get to the arc that I have for The Price's Guide to Occult by Leslie Walton. This book just sounds super, super interesting to me, and it's not super long, so I think I will be able to squeeze it in and maybe actually take it with me on my like trips during the month of April. But our main character is kind of just like slowly working her way pretty like normally through high school, and her family is has like a history of where she lives of like being descendants of witches, and her ancestor was like burned or something like that. And thankfully though, she's pretty happy about it. She doesn't have any power, she doesn't have a love life, no drama. She's like just gonna get through life and go on. And then all of a sudden a book appears and willing to like grant any wish that she has. So that is where that goes. I don't even know. That sounds like almost like an Aladdin genie situation. And I don't even know what the heck I would wish for in that situation. But I don't know. I'm just super curious about it. And finally, I am going to try and get to the arc that I have for My Plain Jane. This is the sequel to My Lady Jane by Cynthia Ham, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. It is amazing historical fiction comedy. I just don't even know how. It's just amazing. You need to read it, or at least attempt to read it. You have to try. But this book comes out in, I think it's June 24th? Sometime in late June. Once again, I haven't even read the plot of this book just because I know who wrote it. I know what part it's a series of. I've read the first book. It's not like a sequel to it. It's like a companion book. I don't care. I'm still going to read it. The first book was amazing. Yeah, all I know about it is it's Jane Eyre. That's all I know. And they're going to mess up Jane Eyre. And I'm here for it. I'm so excited for it. Oh god, I'm so excited. So those are all the books that I am going to attempt to read in the month of April. I think I can actually do it. Most of them are not super big books, and quite a few of them I have audiobooks for, so I can continue, like come home and read, and then when I'm driving or walking the dogs, I can listen and continue reading / listening to the book and then just kind of come back and jump back in. So yeah, let me know in the comments section down below what you think you're going to try and read in the month of April, if you've read any of these and liked or hated them. I'd love to hear it. And check the description box down below for links to all of the books, as well as links to all of my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you back.